You were born sometime between 1092 and 1210 AD in a castle in Qistan, Persia, now Iran. Sounds cool, right? Well, not quite. The timing couldn't have been worse. Your family is, of course, delighted. On the seventh day, you were even named after your grandfather. This guy died in battle many years ago. I hope this isn't an omen. But speaking of battles, you are essentially born into one. It turns out that the castle you were born in was, yes, under siege for months. The enemy is outside, and they haven't exactly come for tea. Your father and uncles are out there fighting for their lives. But hey, your birth gives them a quick break. It's probably the last good news they'll hear for a long time. After the naming, yes, back to death. Life inside the castle really sucks. No one comes in, no one comes out. We're almost out of food. Good luck with water. What's left is incredibly expensive. If you're not rich, you're probably already dead, or, on the menu. Yes, there are rumors of cannibalism. Nothing screams happy childhood memories like wondering if Uncle Ree plans to rub you with salt and pepper seasonally. By the time you're 7, the siege finally ends. The Seljuks are defeated, and your father survives, losing an arm. But hey, survival is survival, right? It could be worse. You could become lunch. Of course, 7 years spent in a starving castle leave a mark. You don't just dislike the Seljuks. You absolutely hate them. Hatred on the level of they ruined my childhood. And you're not alone. It turns out you have an older brother, and the two of you are essentially traumatized by this situation. But it wasn't just fasting and praying that your parents wouldn't die. The adults made sure you learned a few things. Read, memorize Islamic doctrine, and make sure you understand exactly who you are. Nazari, an Israeli hunted by virtually everyone. You are told of Sedna Hassan Isba, who has seized Alamut Castle, and that it is now your turn to take up his cause. And frankly, you're ready for it. By the time you're old enough to understand what a sword does, you've already decided you're going to use it. There's no talking in this era. It's simple. Kill or be killed. Your brother, same way of thinking. One night, you both sit down with your parents and tell them, "We're joining the fight." Your father, proud, lost his arm, but found 2 sons ready to finish what he started. Your mother, horrified. Pretty sure she saw your insides spilling out in a vision or something. But feelings don't really matter here. This is your duty. And once you understand this, there's no turning back. At age 9, a group of warriors shows up at your castle, and they definitely didn't come with a food delivery. No, these guys are recruiting boys for a special unit in the Israeli army, the Nazari. You, your brother, and a few other children are chosen. And just like that, your childhood is officially over. Congratulations, your parents are desperate. But what can they do? It's for the greater good, whatever that means. The common good has a nasty habit of taking children away. Next stop, Alamut Castle. If you haven't heard of it, just know that this is the place. The Missouri-Israel Military Political Headquarters is essentially a place where children go in and murderers come out. Boys from all corners of Israel are brought here. And from the very first day, the same thing is drummed into their heads. Islam, loyalty, and the whole idea of sacrifice. You're 9, you don't quite understand, but hey, you're willing to die for the cause, right? Right. A week later, they reveal what a special unit really is. You're not just soldiers. You are Fedayeen, or as outsiders whisper, Hashishin, murderers, shadows. From this point on, everything changes, including the way you dress. Heavy armor, bright colors, forget it. You are given simple dark tunics designed to blend into the crowd. A fabric belt holds your blade. Soft leather boots make your steps silent. The hood is simple and discreet. You can lower it at any time if anyone is watching too closely. Your job is to kill very important people. Oh, and one small condition. You're expected to die doing it. That's a bit of a pain. You and your brother exchange glances because yeah, this isn't exactly what you signed up for. But no one complains, so the training begins. First, they break you physically. You run endlessly until the mountains seem like a light workout. Then they add climbing. Mountains, trees, castle walls. Fast, silent, like a shadow. It's cruel. Some children don't survive. And when I say don't survive, I mean they literally die during training. But you survive. And your brother too. Because if there's one thing you're both good at this point, it's not dying. At least for now. After a year of this nightmare, you're finally being handed a gun. You meet your new best friend, the Jambia, which is a curved dagger that is essentially designed to get too close to someone. If you swing it, it means you are close enough to smell your target's last breath. And believe me, that's exactly how assassins operate. Up close, quietly, and completely final. But being a killer isn't just about smashing people, no. You also learn to blend in, to become invisible, literally anyone, anywhere. You are taught languages, religions, customs, things that you didn't even know existed. One week you pretend to be a merchant, the next, a wandering monk. Essentially, you become what brings you closer to your goal. 10 years, that's how long it lasts. By the end, you and your brother are ready, not just to kill, but to die. There's nowhere to run, no escape. Confirm the kill. What happens next doesn't matter. Paradise is assured. Then comes the day that proves it. One morning, the Great Master, that same guy, calls you all to the top of the mountain. He says it's a loyalty test. You know it's bad when someone uses the words test and mountaintop in the same sentence. He chooses 3 students at random. You're lucky. Your brother is one of them. You feel your stomach clench, but you remain silent. The Great Master begins quoting sacred texts about duty, sacrifice, paradise, things you've heard countless times, but this time they seem real. And then he gives the order, jump, without hesitation. Your brother doesn't even look back. He instantly jumps along with the others. The sound of them hitting the ground is something you'll never forget. It's just that sickening plop echoing off the rocks. They're dead. You don't cry. What's the point? He's secured his place in heaven. But damn, you'll miss that stupid smile. The Great Master looks back and smiles, because he knows that if he had chosen 10 more of you, you would all have jumped. Right then, he declares the training complete. No time to grieve. Not that you'd want that. You immediately receive your first mission, infiltrate the Seljuk castle, and await orders. And frankly, you're thrilled. You've been dreaming of this moment. Killing a Seljuk isn't a mission, it's a gift. This is your first time living among non-Israelites. Strange faces, strange customs, but you have been trained in this. Adept or die. Right, so you blend in. Easy. Your cover story is a perfumer in a Seljuk market. Honestly, you're doing pretty well, selling fancy oils to people who would spit on you if they knew who you really are. You smile. You count your coins. But nothing seems right. 6 months later, the message finally arrives, delivered through Nazari's spy network, which quietly permeates all of Seljuk territory. Your first real mission. Your target is a Seljuk prince. He's young, gaining influence, and actively advocating for anti-Israeli policies. If he continues, your people will suffer. Simple enough until you read the last part. Run after killing. Run. Seriously? You're a Hashishin. You shouldn't run. You kill. You die. That's the deal. The order seems wrong, but it's still an order. You will not work alone. Another Hashishin has been assigned to eliminate the prince's shadow. The guards are essentially glued to the prince, following him everywhere like a lovesick bodyguard. You both begin observing. Weeks pass before you notice a weak link. Every Thursday, the prince strolls through the market. Most people think he's inspecting the trade, but you get the point. It turns out his heart isn't in politics. It's in the merchant's daughter. He's too afraid to talk to her, so he just walks past her instead. Every week, like a pervert. This is your opportunity. On the eve of the next Thursday walk, you and your partner sign up as workers at the same merchant store. No suspicions. You're hired immediately. The next day, the game begins. You work, you wait, you breathe slowly. Every second feels difficult because this is what you've been preparing for your entire life. No misses. Right on schedule. The prince passes by, stealing glances at the girl. You see it as clear as day. He's distracted. Perfect. You move quickly, silently, invisibly. By the time he sees you, your dagger will already be deeply embedded in his chest. His eyes widen, his mouth opens, but nothing useful comes out except screaming. At the same moment, your partner plunges his blade into the guard. 2 kills, 2 breaths, done. You twist the dagger, confirming the kill, and disappear into the alley like a ghost. It's all over in seconds. No one knows what happened except your partner. He doesn't run. He calmly drops to his knees, praying, accepting martyrdom, while the soldiers stand frozen, too shocked to move. But you left, ordered to run like a coward. Part of you wants you to stay. You would have died with him, like a true Hashishin. A week later, you'll be sent deeper into Seljuk territory. Different location, same mission. Your target is a military governor leading the siege of an Israeli fortress. But not just any siege. This siege starves families and children who painfully remind you of yourself. Killing this guy feels personal. You catch him off guard one evening as he returns to his prayer tent. Perfect timing, one quick strike, one less Seljuk, and just like that, you disappear into the night. No witnesses, no trace, another phantom murder. And it doesn't end there. One kill becomes two, two becomes a dozen. Soon you've pulled off more high-profile assassinations than most Hashishins ever lived to dream of. Honestly, this should have been your death several times over. But instead of sending you to heaven, Alamip calls you back. You don't hesitate. You go straight there and tell them how you feel. You accuse them. Yes, you accuse me of stealing your chance at martyrdom. You were ready to die. You wanted it. That's when they finally tell you the truth. Not every Fedayeen has to die. Some of you are destined to live, to lead, to teach the next generation. Someone has to keep the machine running, manage the networks, and transfer the skills. And apparently that someone is you. You're being promoted to Master of the Fedayeen. You hate it, every second of it, but you obey. Now your job is to train the next wave. The boys are no older than the age when your brother jumped off that cliff without hesitation. Children with wide eyes, still clinging to the idea of honor, glory, heaven. And so you teach them how to die. Because that's the whole point. You don't show them how to live. You are preparing them for a heroic death that no one will ever remember. Names that disappear the moment their bodies fall to the ground. In every boy who enters your yard, you see your brother. You see yourself. Every exercise, every lesson is just another slow funeral. Generations come and go. You watch them grow, refine, and march toward their deaths while you remain behind. Eventually, even the cult leaders begin to fear you, because a person like you, a survivor, a killer, a ghost, knows too much. Knows where the bodies are buried because you buried most of them. They stop giving you orders. They stop visiting your rooms. You are no longer their master. You are their ghost, the last ghost in a castle full of memories.